Dorian Harewood stars in The Notebook, the musical on Broadway. I'm David Buchanan with Gold Derby. Dorian, first, I just want to ask you, what does it feel like to be back on Broadway after all this time?
Well, David, first of all, thanks for having me on your show, and I appreciate that. Um, it's been a few minutes since I've been on Broadway. uh, uh, 40, I think 46 years was my last appearance on Broadway, my last time on Broadway. So it's very exciting. I'm not really good with time. That's one of the songs in the show, actually. But time for me just it's here, it's there, it's everywhere. So I was very surprised when I was told it was 46 years since I was last on Broadway. But I'm very excited about being back.
Yeah, I believe the last time was The Mighty Gents in
Yeah.
'78. So yeah, it has been a very long time. What about The Notebook and the role of older Noah really drew you, to come back to the stage? What about this show, really excited you about coming back to Broadway?
Well, when I was told about the auditions for the role of older Noah in the musical, I just treated it as any other audition. It looked like a good role. I looked it up. I had not read the book nor seen the movie. So I listened to the music, the songs that I was going to sing to audition, and looked at the sides that I would be reading, as most regular actors do. And I really liked what I saw. And then once I auditioned for it and I got a good response from the people for callback or whatever you want to call it, but it looked like I was going to get it. I said, well, I want to look at the movie. Don't have time to read the book, but I'll look at the movie. And I really love the movie. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that James Garner had played the role that I play in the musical. He had played that role in the movie, the older Noah. And James Garner and I had worked on two movies together. One called a feature film called Tank, and a television movie called I think it was The Last Debate, directed by John Badham, and actually Audra McDonald, terrific Broadway performer, was in that movie as well. So I kind of told James, I know he's not with us anymore, but I have this belief that we're all connected. So I just said, "Hey, James, looks like I'm going to be doing your role in the musical." So it's pretty interesting.
That's beautiful. And speaking of the film, I wanted to ask you, obviously, between the novel and the film and now the stage musical, the story touches so many people. So how does this kind of beautiful tale of love and memory and reconnection resonate with you personally? What kind of really drew you to the story at the heart of the show?
Well, the main thing is that it does. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the phrase that is used about the universality of love, and it really talks about the universality of love and the power of love, and that touches every human being, um, whether they have experienced it, desired it, had it, lost it, got it back. Every human being has comes into this world, hopefully, looking for and experiencing love, whether it's from the birth of a child with their mother and their parents or whatever, that kind of thing. So love is so enormously powerful, as well as gentle and kind and everything else. So all of those all of those feelings are what attracted me to the project, and I think is what literally connects all of the people that come to see the musical, because every human being, we're all human beings, and we all have experienced that.
You mentioned a moment ago the song "Time," which opens the show, in which you kind of open the musical, and it's a really beautiful and complicated number. It introduces us to so many of the characters and the multiple versions of Noah and Allie in
Right.
such a great way. I just wanted to ask you, what is the experience like for you to step on that stage? You kind of inaugurate the show for us with this beautiful song about the effects of time and where you are in your life right now. What is that experience like when you do it 8 shows a week?
Well, it's extremely exciting. It's invigorating. It's life affirming. It's I look forward to it. At the same time, I have to keep reminding myself to really focus on what I'm doing, because all of this is intricately choreographed by the terrific choreographer Katie Spellman to make this unique story work with the audience. That's one of the main things, as you know, about live theater is that it's unique to all the other disciplines, film and television and that kind of thing. It's telling a story. It's challenging and urging and coaxing the audience to go with it and feel what the show is trying, whatever the story is trying to relay to the audience. And at the beginning with this song Time, we introduced the young couple, Allie and Noah, played beautifully by John Cardoza and Jordan Tyson. And the middle, Allie and Noah, played beautifully by Ryan Vasquez and Joy Woods. And then the older Allie and Noah, played wonderfully by Maryann Plunkett. And then I played Noah. But it's just so gorgeous the way they've staged it, and it allows the audience, as you know, the first thing they see are all these different looking human beings on stage. And I don't talk about race. We can get into all that. I consider that there's only one race, the human race, but that it shows right away the different hues or the different sizes and shapes and colors and all the things about these people that are on stage. So at first, the audience sees that, but they are immediately involved in the human experience and the universality of what's going on with these relationships, with this one relationship divided into all of these different parts and time periods, future, past, all that kind of stuff, or basically past and present. So it's very exciting to start off the show with that. And I'm one of the first ones on stage along with the young Allie and young Noah. But I have the first song starting that. So it's exciting to do that.
I think what is so beautiful about the show, as you're explaining, is, you share the role of Noah with Ryan and John, but it really feels as if the three of you have come together to create a kind of singular common character. The kind of heart and soul of that character is embodied so well by the three of you, at different stages of life. How did you work with John and Ryan to kind of did you kind of try to establish some physical similarities? What was it like to kind of build that one Noah that the three of you would share? Because, as I said, the spirit of the character is so kind of unique, and the same across all three of you.
Yes, and the first thing, just as with any project, that any story or any musical, any play starts with the words, with the script. That's most important. And this script was so beautifully adapted by Becca Brunstetter that puts us ahead of the curve, if you will. So we were already given this wonderful script with the words and then the glorious music by Ingrid Michaelson that we get to sing and connect with those words. And then, as I mentioned before, the Katie Spellman's beautiful choreography. All of that, you add to that the co-directors, Michael Greif and Shelley Williams, coming in and making sure that it's all just like any conductor. And I look at everything from a musical standpoint. So they're the conductors. They make sure that all of the musicians, which are the actors and the dancers and everything else, are doing the correct thing, are portraying that. So we have all that terrific script, the terrific music, and it's conducted by brilliant directors. So for us, and for me particularly, it's, I won't say easy, but it's very comfortable to get into those characters, and that's the main thing. Then you add the connection between Ryan and John and myself, as we're doing these characters, we didn't really have to discuss any major challenges about it, because we had been given so much information that all we had to do was play it. So, and fortunately, once again, just as any musician playing, you have good musicians and you have average musicians, you have bad musicians. These musicians are the top of the line. You know, John and Ryan and all the other cast members, they're at the top of the food chain, as if you will. So it's wonderful to work with them in that, and to bring this to life.
Let's talk about another actor at the top of that pyramid, Maryann Plunkett, who you share so much time with. What I love about the show, number one, is the connection that you two have established, and also the fact that you're on stage for much of the first act together, watching the story of Noah and Allie and your life play out. I think that's such a beautiful touch. So what is it like to work with Maryann, and also what is it like to kind of watch those other fine actors and your younger selves kind of on stage and experience it in character with Maryann, sitting on stage?
Well, Maryann Plunkett is just an unbelievable actor, and I had never met her before this. I had, so it was just it's been a glorious experience for me to work with her. She's very organic. She's very real. There's no, pretensions or anything. She comes to work every day to make the project as good as it can be. And she challenges everyone else to do the same in her own way, without having to be strict about it, or whatever the word would be. She just embodies that character. I mean, she's nothing like the character that she plays. I mean, if you talk to her off stage, it's a totally different character. But she gets on stage and she just becomes that character. So for me to work with her every day, every night, every show, is just a joy, and it's exciting because I play off of her, as you know. So my words to her, I'm listening, I'm watching what she's doing, and it's dictating what my character will do based on the script itself and the direction. But she's just the best, and I look forward to working with her every show.
Yeah, I can imagine. And this is maybe a slight spoiler, so if you haven't seen The Notebook yet, pause this interview and come back. I just want to flag that in the second half of the show, there are some moments where it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like older Noah, as he's reliving this story, is actually kind of seeing the other characters and tries to interact with them, like reaches out, to the younger Noahs. I think that's such a beautiful kind of moment in the show. And I just wanted to ask you, in contrast to the first half where you're kind of visualizing the story, does it feel different for you as an actor to step into a moment where these younger versions of yourselves feel so real that you're kind of reaching out to make a kind of physical and emotional connection with them?
Well, the way it's set up in the first act, I mean, we start to play with him, my character coming on stage, and he has the notebook, and basically he is starting to once again read this notebook that has been written by his wife, Allie, played by Maryann Plunkett. And he's going to read it and read it and read it to her as long as it takes, because he is hoping that will ignite some memories for her. So it shows all the memories, all of this throughout the entire play, the musical. These characters that you see, the younger and the middle Noah, and the younger and middle Allie, are memories that you see, that the audience sees, but in fact, they are simply the manifestations of my character, Noah, older Noah, reading older Allie's notebook to her. So you see us on stage, but if you notice, and you probably have noticed, and we make sure that we're doing this all in total real time and reality. as I'm reading to Allie, I'm not looking at what's going on stage. I don't get to look at that because I already know, first of all, what I've read to her hundreds and hundreds of times. So a lot of time you'll see me reading and then I'll be looking at her because I'm basically, it's just, that's the beauty of the live theater. It's suggesting to the audience that I'm reading this to her. So in the first act, those younger and middle Noah and Allie's are going through what I am reading to Allie, to the older Allie, in hopes of her saying, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember this. These are these are my memories. I wrote that." So that's in the first act. So in the first act, I don't really look. I think there's one time that I actually look at the character, and that's during a solo with Ryan Vasquez, the beautiful song "Leave the Light On." And the reason I look at him is because, once again, it's me remembering. I already have memorized the Notebook, so I'm looking because that's me basically going through what I'm telling to her. This is one point where she knows about it because during the writings and her writing the stuff, a lot of it came from me. So that's the one time. But in the second act, after I have at the end of the act, not to do the spoiler thing, but if people, if they've paused, then they know. And the second act, it's me trying to get back to Allie. I'm no longer reading the book to her. I'm in a hospital. I'm trying to get back to her. And in fact, I end up leaving the hospital without their permission. I just take off myself and I'm taking a long, hard, arduous journey back to the building to try to find my wife. Okay. So that's the reason that in the second act, you see me actually looking at the younger Allie and the younger Noah and the middle Allie and the middle Noah, because I am being invigorated and being sustained and being uplifted by my memories of our love, of our years of love from the beginning all the way up to the present. And that's what is fueling me to get back to Allie. My injury is much worse. Everything is tough. And I couldn't go on if I weren't buoyed by those memories of what's going on. That's why I literally look at them directly in the second act.
Yeah, it's a beautiful touch. I love that kind of difference between Act One and Act Two and the way you're describing it. Before I let you go, Dorian, I just want to ask you too about the very end of the show, because it's such an emotional, climax. It's such a tearjerker. I don't know if anybody in the house is not crying by the end of the show. So I wanted to ask you two questions about that. First, can you kind of feel the audience response when you and Maryann are doing that final scene that you share together? And then, of course, the beautiful coda at the end. How much do you feel the audience kind of emotional release? And how does that kind of fuel your performance? And when you get to come back on stage and do that final number, how cathartic is it for you after a really emotional and intense, 2+ hour experience for you, 8 shows a week? Is that a real release for you as an actor to be able to experience that?
Well, it is. It's a very challenging, as you know, because you've seen the musical. But that second act and that towards the end there is very challenging for me because as I say, I'm coming back. I'm trying to get to Allie. I finally get to her, and she's still in the state. She's in an even worse state than she was in before. But I'm making sure that I get to her. So it's very challenging. It's very grueling. Um, it's exhausting, but at the same time, it is cathartic because the way it's set up, and once again, with the gorgeous music and the beautiful words and the direction that we've gotten, my character, as well as Allie's characters and all the characters on stage, have been so well written and directed that for me personally, I don't know how the other actors, I don't know what their technique was. Like I said, I was talked into acting, so I just got into it as a singer. But the way I act is I just learn the stuff and then I just empty myself and become that character. And I let that that character do whatever he is supposed to do based on the words and that kind of thing. So as we go through that, I've surprised myself, David, that I'm able to reach that emotional level every show. And the reason I'm able to is number one, because it's so well written, so well, the music is so terrific, and it's so well directed. And most importantly, because Maryann Plunkett is such a brilliant actor that all I have to do is work with her, look at her, and as Noah, looking at her as Allie, and it just happens. Some nights are slightly different than from others, but it happens because it's so well done. As far as the audience is concerned, live theater, as you know, is a collaboration or a cooperative experience between the audience and the performers, unlike any of the other mediums. Okay. So everything that we do is connected to the audience and their response. We have to wait for laughs or cries or any of those things. Otherwise they'd miss some of the things. So we are aware of the audience. We are aware, and each audience is different. But the through line is that they all, so far, I've only done this since I got the job, but they all get it. And I mean, we've had it to where it's been quiet sniffles or quiet, whatever, crying, to literally so loud that one night or one day or whatever the performance was, one of the people were crying so much, and she just yelled out, "I'm sorry, I just can't help myself." And the audience just kind of almost applauded. They laughed, nervous laughter, because they were all crying too. So it's that kind of release that happens during that. But mainly it is that collaborative thing. So yes, we do and are aware of the audience, and we participate with the audience, and they participate in the story with us. That's the unique quality of theater, live theater.
Dorian Harewood, congratulations on The Notebook. Thank you so much for talking to Gold Derby today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, David.